Hello and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. We are now on episode 4, and today we're going to be talking about animals and a couple other bits alongside that, such as zoos, aquariums, and other stuff.
Yep, other stuff.
Cool. So on with it. So, animals, zoos, everything alongside that. We love it. We can't get enough of it.
We can't get enough of it. You're absolutely right.
No. I mean, even last year with the whole pandemic going on, we still managed to get to the zoo and an aquarium.
We did. Our local zoo, which is Colchester Zoo, I think we felt we needed to reach out to them as they were struggling with finances like everywhere else is as well, wasn't it? So we made sure we got there, and it was a decent experience. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, and
especially on our second lap when everyone had cleared out, because it was on a time-based thing, like a rota. Everyone had cleared out by a second lap round, so it was a lot calmer.
That's good. Yeah, no, it was definitely. So we got a bit of time in particular areas within the zoo that we really enjoyed as well. And we've both been to Colchester Zoo and had keeper experiences. So I think we're quite sort of, I don't know, I feel a sort of affinity with that place. I mean, I've been going there since I was a kid. It's changed an awful lot since then, but I've been going there since I was a kid. And I must admit, when I celebrated my 50th and got the keeper experience from you guys, that's got to go down as one of the most incredible days of my life, really.
Yeah, well, I got my 21st and had the keeper experience.
Yeah, it is special. And I know that there's, we could go into conversations about zoos and where they stand now. I think they have changed. Certainly in this country, the leaning is much more to conservation and to breeding programs within zoos. And even in my lifetime, I've seen so much change from the cages. I mean, they're still in pens, but the bars, a lot of the animals weren't suitable for keeping anyway, and they would be in concrete cages, and now they do try and look at the environment, look at what they need, give them stimulation, enrichment, all those things in order to make it a better experience for the animals. I still get the argument about the animals being in captivity, but when you look at the breeding programs as well, it's quite involved, it's global, and I think a lot of good's being done.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about animals in captivity as well, I mean, a lot of the animals that are in zoos nowadays, they were either born in zoos or have been in the zoo long enough that if they were to leave, they're not necessarily going to survive. And you've even got places in certain zoos around the world, actually all of them really work together when it comes to conservation. So, for example, endangered species, breeding them and breeding programs so that there's even come to a point where there's some species that were previously endangered. Actually, a big one being pandas in China. I mean, obviously the Chinese do a lot with pandas and there's whole panda sanctuaries and stuff like that, but they were endangered, and strictly speaking, that one's not because of us. That one's more because they're a bit funny and weird in the way they breed, and maybe they should be extinct, but they've kind of been saved from extinction by all the programs that they have in China.
Actually, that's a fair point, because there are animals, and you cited the panda. I mean, there's an argument to say they should be extinct. I mean, they've got a limited diet. As far as reproduction is concerned, it's very much hit and miss by all accounts. I mean, they're only fertile for a matter of 45 seconds every 400 years or something like that. So you've got to say maybe, but
it's just a matter of the males up to it as well at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. It does. It's a complicated thing, and some animals, certainly with encroached on their land with and their habitat there. It's been awful. But
Yeah.
there's others that perhaps are slightly different. But anyway,
And it's really drastic in a lot of other places, like rainforests and such like that. Bornean rainforests, especially like orangutans and stuff, things like that.
the what?
Is it Bornean?
Borneo?
Yeah,
You've just made
Bornean.
up another place.
Bornean
Bornean. So
rainforests.
not the Borneo rainforest.
Yeah, but would it not be the Bornean rainforests?
All right. Well, I'm sure one of our many zero listeners will correct us on it anyway. So we'll just go forward. Let's just call it that anyway.
Anyway, but even like things like that is quite drastic. But even looking outside of your window now, I know you're not doing it now because you're nowhere near your window. But if you were to look outside the window now, looking down our street, they're all quite modern housing-ish within the last century and also. And looking out there, previously, I don't know what would have been there, whether it's fields or maybe trees, bit of wooded area. But
I remember when it was all fields.
yeah, but there would have been a lot more wildlife there. Like we seem to have globally taken over the world as humans and taken everything for ourselves. We've gone, oh, I need somewhere to live, so I'm going to kick this fox out of its home and move into it. Not the hole. I'm not moving into the hole, but I mean like the fox's home.
Wow, well they ain't doing too bad. I'm sure if I looked outside my window at the moment, there'd be probably a couple of foxes rummaging for our dustbin sacks that haven't been collected this week, but that's a different problem.
Or making new foxes.
Which
Although we
they
probably
do.
hear that.
Yes, yeah, they'll wait until the middle of the night before they do that.
Ah! Ah!
Yeah, quiet, lovely.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. I mean, and there's some animals that have thrived. I mean, I must admit, in more recent times, I see a lot more foxes. I even see badgers around sort of built up areas now.
Badgers.
Yeah, badgers, street corners, gangs of them, flick knives. No, they you see that sort of thing. And there's squirrels in our back garden. I mean, we've never had squirrels in our back garden, and then suddenly. And that's not a euphemism. Suddenly we've got a couple of squirrels in the trees behind where we are. You know, so it's and I see on a daily basis. I see different types of birds and that you don't expect. I mean, even driving home yesterday, parakeets for a start. Yeah, but driving home yesterday, I saw a buzzard, and then. As I turned the corner, there was a muntjac deer. So, you know, and I'm talking by a main road. Today I drove home and I saw another huge bird of prey. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but it was slightly smaller than the buzzard. But, you know, there's plenty of wildlife out there. And it always surprises me as well, is when you go to these places, these woods and whatever, and they say, oh yeah, we've got deer. And you think, well, no, you can't have deer. We'd have seen them. But there are. You know, and quite often they'll keep well clear of anybody else. I mean, we've seen deer before, haven't we, when we've been walking through local woods? But
yeah, I mean,
know, it's
we used to have wildlife in regards to like hedgehogs. We used to personally get quite a few hedgehogs in our garden, but we don't. I've not seen a hedgehog in years, or seen signs of a hedgehog in years, and I guess really those particular animals have not fared well to suit themselves to urban life, whereas other animals. And sorry, just as well, I've seen a lot of animals. You say about seeing animals down the main road. I've seen a lot of animals down main roads, but quite a lot of them are flat.
Oh yeah. Well, fair enough, yeah. And obviously our commutes to work, we see a lot of that, which is a shame. But you know, it's a sad fact that you know we've cars
built a road in the middle of the habitat.
Yeah, and where everybody's going along at a speed. I can barely talk today. Going on at a speed, and obviously they don't stand a chance. But you know, it is difficult. You say about hedgehogs, the actual hedgerows and places where they would normally be. are disappearing all the time. That's why they talk about creating something for them. But this, I mean, thinking about some of the larger, I mean, I think our particular favourites, because everybody's really got a favourite animal, haven't they? And I think both of us, with our zoo experiences, got to come up close and personal with those particular animals. I mean, you were with the elephants, which is your particular favourite.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that? How did you feel with that?
What with the elephants? How did I feel?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an incredible experience to be that close and personal with an elephant. What was really nice is I was feeding the elephants at the time, and there's this one particular one that it's got in the habit of picking up things off of the floor, like rubbish wise. So inside the enclosure,
Alright.
you'd pick up like crisp packets, stuff like that. And the keepers thought, oh, this is a good habit. It means we don't have to pick it up, and they give it to the keeper, and the keeper gives them a bit of food. Oh, that's good. That particular elephant's gotten so much of a habit now of doing that there's apparently a pile of leaves next to where the public feeding is, just because it keeps handing over leaves and expecting more food. I got a part of a coconut shell. It picked up a piece of coconut shell off the floor and then handed it to me, or trunked it to me because I don't have hands, and then I handed it a piece of food. And that
Oh,
was
something else we've
a
learned.
present I got.
Elephants haven't got hands.
No hands. Didn't know if you knew that. They have got fingers though. Do you know that?
Have they?
Yeah. The bits at the end of their trunk, they're referred to as fingers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Things they pick things up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. How about, because you had orangutans.
Orangutan, yeah. Oh, I mean, well, I was fairly speechless. We obviously there was one that was outside and one that was inside, and both males. One of them was absolutely huge.
He's the one that's been there for years, isn't he?
No, that's the one who's not been there so long. The other one was 50 years old, who sadly is gone now. But the other one, Tiger, I'm not sure, he was like an adolescent, I believe. But we went in and it was incredible to be that near. We prepared their food and their drinks for them.
Wore face masks before it was cool.
Oh, yeah. No, face masks, because obviously we share so much with apes that, you know, if we'd have walked in there with any sort of germs, it would have affected them. But then we fed them, or we fed that particular one, and I've got to say, it was just beyond words. I think, you know, when I came out of there, I think a few of you tried to talk to me about it, and I was pretty much not in tears, but very choked up, very emotional about it, because it was just a lifelong thing to want to do, and the actual being that close and seeing how magnificent they are and how huge they are as well, and powerful as well. We could really feel the strength in their hands, and it was just like nothing else. But it's I guess those sort of experiences, they bring a lot of money into zoos, don't they? They bring a lot of money, and you can see by how they're struggling that most of the money that comes in, or nearly all the money that comes in, is ploughed back into the zoo to make it, you know, give more space, give more education for the actual keepers. That was something that struck me, is the keepers, all the ones I spoke to that day were the various animals that we were with. There was no doubt about it. They absolutely adored those animals. They knew an awful lot. They had a real bond with them, a real sort of passion for what they do.
Apart from the guy, because we both had gibbons, apart from the guy that dealt with the gibbons and the cheetahs, he was like, you know, when you've got a cat, for example, and you're just like, oh yeah, my cat's alright, but he's a bit of a D word.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he said that about like the cheetahs and the gibbons.
Well, they were nasty.
Gibbons. Why can't I not remember the name of mandrills? That's it.
It's mandrills. It was, yeah. Oh no, without a doubt. I mean, the cheetahs certainly were very sort of aggressive. and very quite intimidating until I didn't realise that they just meow like a cat. They haven't got
they
a
do.
roar. They just do the tiniest yes, which really, or might lull you into a false sense of security, really, because if you think, no,
Did you
they're
do the
nothing,
same
and
as me?
then
As you walk past it and you swear and it meows and you go, you have to do a double take. Like, what was that? Is that that? Is
yeah,
that a
well,
cheetah
I think I
meowing?
said to the guy, about it, and he said, "Was that?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "That's what they do," and then he said something about them. But they really, you're right. He wasn't all that keen. I think it's the trust between them, and I think he. I mean, you've got to have a healthy respect, haven't you, for any sort of animal? I mean, let's face it, the most gentle of animals could do you great harm if they wanted to. But he certainly said that they weren't to be, taken for granted. You can't relax. That's the word I was
Yeah.
looking for. They can't relax with them. But no, I mean, a great experience. And I know how people feel about zoos, but I think really ultimately I'd love to see these animals in the wild. I mean, even that you tend to, if you go on a safari to see animals like that, you see them in a park of such, a reserve that's to try and save them from poachers anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
that going down that line, poachers and getting animals for sport. Well, I don't think we need to even debate the wrongdoings there.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, when it comes to you said about money pumping into zoos, there's just a little thing as well. If you think about a vet bill, and you think about how much a vet bill costs, and then you multiply that by how many animals you've got in that zoo as well, and you also think about how many animals you've got to feed in the zoo per day, and I think it costs them like thousands per day just to feed all the animals, and that's how much it just adds up, and that's just that side of things, whereas a lot of their other money gets pumped into either developing the zoo so they can better support their animals that they've got existing there, or pumped into some kind of conservation efforts, breeding efforts, and stuff like that. And especially during the pandemic, they really did suffer, a lot of zoos
Well, they are.
globally.
They're still, still
But
very much so.
I think when you look at it like that, as these animals were born in captivity, they're not going to survive outside of it. Also, there's also animals in captivity now that you learn more from an animal in captivity than you're going to learn from an animal outside of captivity, because you're just not going to see them as such. I think certainly when it comes to marine animals, things like octopuses, which is the plural for an octopus,
No,
and
surely not.
yep, definitely is.
Octopuses, not octopi.
No, octopuses, and a lot of other fish.
You're making that up.
No, but a lot of other fish, you wouldn't see them because you can't physically watch a fish all the time, because I don't know if you know this, but you can't breathe underwater. Don't know if you've tried, and also the sea's quite big. So to watch an animal all the time is really difficult. So when you
Wow,
have something
it's
like an
just
octopus in captivity, you can really watch its behaviours and such as
it's
that a
just
lot
fact
more.
after fact with you, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
The
I
things
mean,
I've learned.
not just a furry face.
Can't breathe underwater. The ocean is really big.
And I think we learnt on the last episode that you can't smell in space either. So you learnt that
I'm
from me.
still no. I'm sorry. No, well, I'm not going to go on about that. But I'm going to check me facts. But I think we'll find I'm right. Anyway, go on. Yeah,
Talking about
fish.
facts, have you not got some facts that you've prepared?
Well, no. Like always, I prepare for these things. Although I seem like I don't. And I start looking through some stuff, and I think, can that possibly be right? So, for instance, cows can only sleep standing up, but they can only dream lying down.
How would we know this?
A scientist.
Ah, a scientist. So it's like one of those scientists that goes, "Oh, I need to study something, but I don't know what to study." So that it just seems like a really strange thing for someone to just go ahead and study.
I imagine there was some sort of foil cap with wires coming off it that they put on the top of and a screen so they could watch what was happening. I mean, I'm no scientist, but I imagine that's what happened.
I think that's exactly it.
I've got another one for you. A housefly hums in the key of F. How about that then?
Mind blown. Did they learn that with one of those tuning forks?
Right, probably.
I mean, I don't know the key of F.
I don't know what F is. Yeah, say F. It might be something more like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I think that's more of a G.
Oh.
I'll tell you what. There's a good one. A flamingo can only eat when its head is upside down.
See, that's what that. If that's true, that's strange because you'd think about swallowing and it really hindering gravity and being able to swallow. Huh.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's true because I'm reading it off of.
Oh yeah. I forget.
the
Everything
internet.
you read on the internet is true.
Well, it is. Yeah, most of it is.
Because you didn't
anyway.
get this one from a pop-up book, did you?
No, I haven't got.
So I
any
don't think it can
pop-up
be
books
quite
on.
as trustworthy as a pop-up book.
Right, this is a good one. Right. A sea lion is the first non-human mammal with a proven ability to keep a beat. A lot of drummers, a lot of sea lion drummers.
To be fair, if you put a moustache on a sea lion, you'll never tell the difference. I've seen a lot of big bands with a sea lion.
The picture I'm looking at, he's got a moustache.
Is he actually?
Well, whiskers, the same thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, pretty much.
What about that though? That's what I'd like to point out in that sentence is proven ability.
How did
This
they
is not
prove
just
it?
someone saying, I reckon a sea lion
Do you
can
reckon-
keep a good beat.
Do you reckon walruses can do a similar kind of thing?
No, I think they're notoriously bad at keeping rhythm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, aren't sea
They
lions just
try,
walruses
but
without
they're
the
not
tusks? They're just
successful.
using them as drumsticks, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe.
That's how
maybe.
a sea lion's
Right.
made.
Now you're being silly. Reindeer eyeballs
Now I'm
turn
being-
blue. Reindeer eyeballs turn blue in winter to help them see in lower light levels.
Lower light levels. Lower
Yeah,
light
lower light
levels.
levels.
Lower light levels.
Sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, that is just unbelievable, isn't it?
Does that mean I can see in lower light levels?
Why?
Because I've got blue eyes.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I doubt it.
Oh. Fair enough. No, that is quite interesting, actually. An animal being able to change the colour of his eyes.
Yeah, well, quite, yeah, absolutely. Right, this one blows my mind completely. Animals with smaller bodies and faster metabolism, such as chipmunks and squirrels, see in slow motion.
You know, that makes sense. They say about flies being able to see in slow motion as well.
What? What? Flies in the key of F?
Flies in the key of F, yeah. Because if you think about it, I guess this goes back to what we're discussing with time and movement and such like that as well. If something's not moving as much, time relative will move slower. So if a slower metabolism would mean that things are going slower. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, I switched off when you started talking.
Oh,
then.
okay. Fair enough. That one makes sense to me. And flies especially, because if you ever tried to swat a fly, I know I'm really really good at catching flies, but if you ever tried to get one, you can never. This always beats you to it, doesn't it?
Because what you're telling me is because they're looking at you, and because you're in slow motion, they're able to move quicker than you.
Yeah, that bloke's hand's coming. That bloke's hand's going to be here in a moment. Oh, it's almost here. All right, I better leave now. All right, off. See you later, Jim.
How can that possibly be true? It just doesn't.
Because have you ever, you know, when you watch a film and there's a giant, yeah, and you know how the giant kind of takes steady, big steps, almost in slow motion.
Yeah.
That's because relative to a giant, time moves quicker for a giant.
Okay, so
That's why they move in slow motion
then,
relative to us.
Are
Because we
you
move
saying
in
that?
slow motion relative to a fly.
So for an elephant, does elephants see everything in fast forward, like
No, no.
Keystone Cop sort of thing?
An elephant might see things move faster than we see
They
it.
actually are.
Because you often see bigger animals have slower reflexes, don't they? But that's because time relative to them moves at a faster pace, so they haven't got enough, essentially, time to react. Whereas someone like a fly can react very quickly because time relative to them means everyone else is moving slower. But time relative to an elephant, everyone else is moving faster. And that's why an elephant walks quite slowly.
Well, talking of elephants, elephants have a specific alarm call that means human. But presumably, by the time it happens, right, it's happened already, and they can't do anything about it,
Yeah, that's it.
and
So
they have to resort to using their fingers to do some sort of
yeah, counting how many
sign
humans
language.
there are, but they can only count up to 2. So so with an elephant, if they've got a specific call for human, that means essentially they've got their own name for humans. They've given us a name. That's quite cool, really, when you think about it, because we give names to lots of different animals. For example, animals is a name for animals, but we don't think they're going to give names to us. So I like that. That's cool. That's a cool fact. Well done on that one.
Right. Did
my
you know
favourite so far.
wild dolphins called each other by name?
Wild dolphin.
Yeah, the ones that are really angry. No, the wild dolphins call each other by name.
Oh,
They've each got different names.
that one's called Brian.
Yep, Steve,
Barbara.
Ian. Yeah, no,
Barbara gets around, doesn't she?
It's a lovely picture of Barbara. Yeah.
They also
name.
mate for fun. They're the only other animal to mate for fun. So
Are they really?
yeah.
All right.
I
Is it
believe
supposed
so.
to be fun?
Well,
All right. Right. Next one. One species of jellyfish is immortal.
yes.
It can revert back to its child state after having become sexually mature, dirty devil, and therefore never dies.
Yes. I have no.
So,
They just go back to. They just. You know how we age? They just go back in time again. I mean,
yeah, but
let's be
how?
honest. A jellyfish is just a big blob. It's very closely related to anemones. They're the same kind of thing. They haven't got a brain or anything, so they just go backwards.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm seeing if I've got any more. Oh, this is me. If this is the last one, this is. I wish I hadn't saved this till last. A snail can sleep for 3 years at a time.
You know what? I knew that.
Yeah.
Do you know how I knew that?
Have you been looking at my notes?
No. Do you remember the quiz that I did during lockdown? That was one of my
don't
questions.
tell me that.
That one was. Along with something else having 3 years. But I can't
3
remember
years?
what it
A
was.
butterfly? Who
A
knows?
butterfly.
Polar bears have black skin and see-through fur.
Yes.
The now extinct colossal penguin stood as tall as 2.3 metre basketball legend LeBron James. This must be an American site.
You seem to just be firing through.
The male gentoo and the Delhi penguins propose to females by giving them a pebble. It's a
thought that's how
quick
you meant to
fire
do it
animal
anyway.
fact.
Quick fire
It is,
facts.
Yeah, dogs' sense of smell is 100,000 times stronger than humans. However, they have only 1/6 of our number of tastes. If they've got a really good sense, this has always bothered me. Why do they smell so bad if they've got a really good sense of smell? Because surely, even when we couldn't smell them, they'd be able to smell it themselves. Or don't you smell your own brand?
Everyone likes their own brand, and
No.
with that then, so if they can smell themselves, maybe they can smell beyond the smell and they actually like the smell. But you said about taste buds, and that makes sense, because I don't know if you've ever eaten dog food, but that doesn't taste great.
Does it not?
No.
No, I've never done it. Have you actually tasted dog food then?
Yeah, I've tried dog food. I think you should. I think you should try your animal food that you're giving the animals, because you should know whether it's how it tastes and what they have to put up with every day.
Oh, right, okay. Well, fair enough. Well, that's the end of my facts.
All right. Well,
Do you
that
feel
sounds good then.
enlightened?
I feel enlightened. I feel like I've learnt so much. I
I'm
look
not
forward
sure
to
that
learning
some
more.
of them can be right. I'm going to have to follow up, do a little bit of digging on those ones. There's
Well,
a couple there that I'm not sure about.
maybe we can
I'll
come
certainly
back
look
to
at
it.
squirrels in a different way. Yeah, maybe we could.
We'll come back to it after you've done your research and your science experiments in the shed.
Yeah, okay, will do.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Bullshit.
Is your prize bovine struggling with the cold temperatures? Does he give you a frosty reception when you see him each morning? Then you need
Bullshit.
Our sheets are made with NASA developed technology and will keep even the chilliest horned beefcake toasty warm.
Bullshit.
Online orders only $29.99, likely to spontaneously combust, not a real product.
Game time.
Right, Dad. I've got a game for you now. You said you like to prepare. I've prepared something for you today.
Okay.
So we're going to play a little game. And it's a
Lovely.
bit like, you know how you'd have Batman versus Superman, a fight between the two, who would win?
Yeah, Superman.
Yeah, but Superman's a bit pathetic anyway. But he's the worst superhero ever. Anyway, I've got a who would win in the fight for you between animals.
Oh, nice. Keeping on the, okay, on the animal theme.
Yeah, keeping on the animal theme and keeping how we
Yeah.
love animals so much, we're going to make them fight each other.
Fight each other. Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm sure it's illegal, but let's go for it.
Alright, so, first things off, to kick us off, let's go simple, let's go classic, dog versus cat, go.
Oh, see, like, you see, there's so many different sorts of dogs. From the experience of watching it, I would say a cat would take the dog, but I think the cat would irritate the dog and then the dog would, ultimately win. It depends. It's an hard one, that one.
See, there is a right answer to this. And you'll find there is a right answer to all of these. In a dog versus cat scenario, the cat would win. The reason being
Why?
because the cat would hit the dog on the nose, and the dog would just walk away because he's fed up of being hit on the nose.
Yeah, but there. But what about if it was? What about if it was a different dog? Not our dog, because you're talking about our dog.
I get your argument. I get it. I understand. I appreciate it. But you're still wrong because this is my game. So that's a point to me. I'm winning.
Is this how it's going to go? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm winning.
What we're going to have next?
Okay. So next up is surgeonfish versus bladder snail, and I will point out that surgeonfish is things like tangs, so blue tangs, yellow tangs. I've now forgotten all the other tangs: powder blue tangs, powder brown tangs. Yep, Wu Tang, Clang.
Tangastic, Tangfastic. I better be careful where I say that. And what was the other one? A bladder
Snail. Bladder snail.
What's a bladder snail? Is it just a snail?
Snail. That's a pond snail.
Right, I reckon the snail would have it. Because I reckon those bladder snails are probably poisonous. And I think they've probably got some sort of weaponry in the shell. And the blue tang is just a blue tang.
So what kind of weaponry do you think the bladder snail would have?
Anything. Could have anything in there, couldn't it? Really?
Well, if it had some kind of weaponry, I guess it might stand a chance. Now, blue tang, I will point out, does have a spine that's incredibly sharp down its back. So you say it's just a blue tang, but they do have a weapon. But the actual correct answer to this is surgeonfish, because a surgeonfish, if it got injured at all, it would just be able to perform an operation and mend itself. And then a bladder snail will just wet itself.
Oh, Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see this is.
So that's
Dear
another
oh
point to
dear.
me.
Right. Okay. Right. Bring it on. Bring the next one on.
Next one on. Okay. So this is 1,000 moths versus an orangutan.
I think you'd find my friend, your friend, everybody's friend, the orangutan would easily deal with the moths.
How would he
No
fight
doubt about
1,000
it.
moths?
How would he fight 1,000 moths? He'd just
Yeah, it's a
bat
lot
them
of
off.
moths.
Have you seen the size of an orangutan's hand?
Yeah, but if you think about an orangutan and a moth's a lot smaller, so time will be going in slow motion, so it'd be able to move a lot faster compared to orangutan, it would be going.
But I
Won't
don't
have the
even think it'd be
reflexes.
bothered. They'd get caught in its hair and eat each other and whatever. No,
So you're going for
this
an
is
orangutan.
This is a nonsense. If you tell me it's going to be moths now, this is rigged. This game.
Well, it is 1,000 moths, and the reason being 1,000 moths would
God's
win
sake.
is because they would eat all the orangutan's fur, and then the orangutan would freeze.
Why would they? All the orangutan would have to do is bring out a torch, and then all the moths would go nuts around that.
Well,
and he
if-
could stamp on them.
If the orangutan brought a torch with him, then maybe he'd stand a chance, but this orangutan doesn't, so there you go.
You've got other things performing surgery on himself. So, all right,
That's a
that
surgeon fish,
orangutan-
clues in the name.
The orangutan has got a torch. They all carry torches. So, I'm afraid you're wrong.
Not this orangutan, so that's another point for me, 3-0. Next one, a jaguar or a jaguar versus 10 armadillos.
Why has there got to be multiple armadillos? You're just muddying the water there, so it makes it sort of right. So a jaguar, armadillos are famous for being armoured and dillos.
Yeah.
Right. So 10 of them.
They're very dillos.
Right. I think they eat grubs and stuff. Armadillos. I'm showing my David Attenborough-esque knowledge here. A jaguar hardly comes out in the light. Armadillos are probably nocturnal. I don't know. I'm going to go for jaguar because they'd probably be able to crack open an armadillo like a peanut, like a monkey nut.
Is that your final answer?
It is. I know it's the wrong answer because you'll make it the wrong answer.
No,
but yeah.
I've actually pre-done all of these, so I'm not actually changing any of the answers. And I'm sorry to say that you are wrong again. The armadillos would win, and the reason being why the armadillos would win: one, you kind of mentioned about the armor, but two, they would win because the jaguar is just a car, so a car can't do much on its own against
They
the
could run 'em
armadillos.
over.
No, because it's got no driver.
But this is an animal against animal based quiz, and you can't just bring an inanimate object into it by being clever with words.
Armadillos are animals.
Yeah, and jaguars are animals.
Yeah, and then the car's based on the animal. So the armadillos
my
would win.
God.
So that's 4-0. Next one.
You're such an idiot.
You're an idiot. You're the one getting all these wrong. A golden retriever versus a Labrador retriever.
So, okay, is this a real Labrador retriever or is this a stuffed animal?
No, it's real.
So they're both real dogs,
Yes?
yeah, and they're both. There won't. It'll be a draw because they'll just lick each other to death.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, there's no,
No,
way. You
this
wouldn't even
one-
they don't do that sort of thing.
This one's the golden retriever would win because the golden retriever would win as it is made out of gold, and it might also
But
take
that's
you.
not a real dog, is it?
It might also take you out, as I hear they float around space.
Oh, you just idiot! You're an idiot.
I hear
child.
there's plenty of golden retrievers floating around space, so they might accidentally take you out. You're the one that told me that anyway.
God, if you hear the door go in a minute, it's me going out into the freezing cold because it's I'd rather do that than sit here and listen to this nonsense.
I had to listen to lots of different places on the moon, so
They were real places on the moon.
not all of them.
Well, because it was true or false, wouldn't it? Otherwise, it would all be true, wouldn't it? There wouldn't be much of a competition.
Right, okay. Anyway, so it's now 5-0. There's 5 more questions. You could still draw.
Really?
So this next one, it's a great one. A phoenix versus a griffin.
Right, so 2 mythical beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The phoenix would win every time.
And
Because
why
it
is
can-
that?
Because it can regenerate itself. It will die and then it will come back to life again. That's what phoenixes do.
Congratulations, Dad. Congratulations, because you are correct. And what I've written is a phoenix, as another will just rise from the ashes, and the griffin will get tired.
Yeah, see?
See? Well
I
done.
was trying to apply your sort of logic to it then.
Well, I think that was just obvious logic. But, oh well. So that's 5-1. Well done. You getting there? You catching up?
Don't patronise me.
So, next one. A rabbit with thumbs versus a badger.
A rabbit with thumbs?
Versus a badger.
Why with thumbs? Because it's got opposable thumbs. You're going to say it's going to have a gun or something. So it because it's got opposable thumbs, it's able to pick up weapons. Is this where we're going with this opposable thumbs
I don't know.
business, or are they not opposable thumbs? They're just well, the badgers can be quite vicious. So normally, under normal circumstances, a badger would take a rabbit, but I get the feeling that these aren't normal circumstances.
Stop
and
scratching
you're
his
gonna-
knee.
Am I scratching my knee?
Just
This is
scratching the knee.
see, it's this.
If
I'm
you had to
getting
cut out a bit earlier,
irritated.
could
I'm
you
getting
scratch
so
your knee?
irritated. It's like a tick, and I'm starting to. Yes, right. Okay. I've just scratched my head as well. Is that all right? Does that come out?
I didn't catch the scratching the head. That's fine.
Go on then. Go on.
Which one do you reckon it is? I didn't really get an answer from you.
I've
there.
already said. If you're not listening, that's your
No, because you
problem,
gave like
not
an answer for both. So which
mine. No,
one?
I didn't. I said it would be a badger.
So
But
you're saying
gonna
a
tell me
badger?
that well, yeah. Or you're going to say, well, because it's got a thumb, this rabbit, it's got a sawed-off shotgun or something that it can use.
Well-
Go on. Good.
This one, and we've discussed it in previous podcasts, so it should be easy. It should be simple. The rabbit would win because badgers don't exist. We discussed this in our ghosts episodes that badgers are a myth. So that's 6-1.
Oh, no.
You seem like you're enjoying this.
This is excruciating.
Right, the next one is mushroom versus coral. So these ones are still kind of down the animal branch.
Well, how? How are they down the animal branch? I know coral is
Mushrooms
a living
closer.
thing.
Mushrooms close. Well, so is mushroom. Is a living thing.
Well, it's a living thing. It's not anything related to... What are you talking about? These aren't animals anymore.
Mushrooms are more closely related to animals than they are plants.
How?
They're a fungus.
Yeah.
They're more closely.
it
They're
just-
bacteria. They're more made up. They're more closely related to.
Well, I'm going to say mushroom because you can get deadly mushrooms, poisonous mushrooms. So the mushroom will poison the coral, and the coral's very fragile anyway. So there you go. That's my answer.
Yeah, you are correct there. For similar but not exactly the same reasons. I mean, there are poisonous coral as well and such like that. But the reason a mushroom would win, as they can survive and thrive between a sweaty man's toes, so they can put up quite a lot. But coral will die if you give it too much salt or the wrong kind of light or simply breathe on a Tuesday or something like that. Coral can die to anything. So yeah, mushrooms are the winner of that one. So it's now 6-2. Well done. You're almost there. You could almost definitely not win.
Do you promise me we're almost there?
Yeah, there's 2 more. So this one is frog versus pig.
Well, obviously there's poisonous frogs. I don't think you can get poisonous pigs. I think that if the frog injured the pig could put ointment on it. Something about Russia. I don't. Frog. My favourite animal, the frog.
Yeah, frog isn't your favourite animal. So you're going with frog, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, actually, the pig would win, as Miss Piggy would take
What a
most
surprise.
of the most things in the divorce proceedings.
They're puppets.
As Kermit is quite
they're
passive.
Muppets. Oh my goodness. We've gone. It's just gone in a. I'm losing the will to live.
I've actually kind of lost count, but isn't that like 8-2?
I wish there was 1,000 moths killing me right
No,
this
not
minute.
8-2, 7-2. Right, last.
I
But
wouldn't
by,
even put up a fight. I'd just let them do it.
last, but by all means, not all means least.
This makes my places on the moon quiz seem like
I
real
tell you what, I
entertainment.
thought you were going to smash this quiz, but if I'm not perfectly honest, your thought process hasn't been all that great, and I think you should be disappointed. But it all comes down to this last question, because it's 7-2, all to play for, because this question is worth
absolutely.
1 point.
Oh right, so that's going to work out well for me then.
All right, how many points would you like it to be worth?
What's this?
Let's make it worth.
What's this,
let's make it worth 5 points. This question, yeah.
Okay, what's this? Felt tip pen against a silverback, or a paperclip against a bald eagle?
No, this is penguin versus squirrel.
Well, penguin would win that because a penguin's stronger, and squirrels, although they see in slow motion, penguins move like far faster than that, so they double up. So real time, they would peck the squirrel to death, pinch its nuts, and take them to its mate.
Oh, pinch his nuts to propose.
Yeah.
Well, you got the right answer, but I guess the reasoning was a little bit different to mine, because this isn't just any battle, this is a dance battle, and the penguin would win because they always win in a dance off.
Are you talking about happy feet now?
Yep.
Oh my god.
And if
And
we
what,
want
the
to do
squirrels
surfing,
don't?
they always win in the surfing competition as well.
Oh, do they? What's that then? Is that still
Surf's
happy
up.
feet? Surf's up. Right, another penguin one.
Yep, penguin. But that's it. That's my quiz. So actually, it's a
That-
tie.
that
It's 7-0.
That was astonishing.
7-0. Well done,
How
Dad.
was that 7-0?
Because last one was worth 5. We discussed this.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Oh, well done then. Oh,
Only
well,
right at the end.
What a way to finish.
What
I
a
can't
way
wait
to
to
finish.
set the next quiz.
But anyway, that is it. And you are still scratching your leg, but never mind.
I'm scratching my head. I'm wondering, what am I doing? What have I done with my life? Is
Anyway.
this really a Saturday evening or a Sunday or whenever this goes out?
We'll be going out next Sunday. So thank you so
Right,
much for
cool.
listening. I hope you've enjoyed this week's podcast. It has been really fun, hasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, I seem to be apologising every week now at the end of these podcasts for what I put everybody through, but you know, it's your own fault. You've listened to it. Deal with it.
We all make mistakes, and yours was clicking on this podcast.
Clicking on this podcast, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for listening to this mess. And if you want to hear more of this
Or
mess,
messes.
or messes,
Oh,
or mess I.
dear. Yeah.
Like messy,
Yeah.
but anyway.
Messages.
Anyway, if you want to hear more or you want to follow more, we have different social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow all of those, like them. If you could like the Facebook page, that'd be fantastic, because people are following it but not liking it, so likes better. Anyway,
Yeah, we're very needy.
very, very needy. Anyway, if you want to listen to more, you go on the website, listen to other episodes. As we said, there's been 2 more episodes, and there's episodes every Sunday. I've kind of lost track of what I'm saying now, so I'm just going to kind of ramble and then just get on to the end. So thank you so much for listening to this week. Have you got anything to add, Dad?
No.
No? Alright. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
You sound so overjoyed.